But yeah, I'm just gonna start talking about this. So, Training Day. I like this movie. You know, oh, I watched it. I've seen it a few times. Um, and I watched it with people. Usually, I say if I watch something, I have to watch stuff by myself if I've never seen it before, though, because then I'm going back. I have to make sure I got everything. But this I've seen before. I know what happens. So I still paid pretty good attention because it's a good movie. It's easy to be captivated by it, but yeah, that's what was going on in my head when I was like, should I review this? Yeah, I think I got it. I've seen it before, so yeah, no, it's good, and I'm gonna say the basic plot. And before we watched it, I watched it with my dad and my brother, and I was really vouching for it. It was like, come on, let's watch it. Dylan's never seen it. We gotta watch Training Day. It's so fucking awesome. But Hugh, my dad, kept saying, "Oh no, it's so whatever." He thought it was kind of lame. He thought that it was maybe too hyped up and over the top and unrealistic. Specifically, saying it's pretty unrealistic, and that may be true in a lot of ways. But I do think that they cover in a lot of their tracks. They explain a lot of what's happening. Is it over the top? Yeah. Is it just believable enough? Yeah. It's a movie. I think you can just suspend your disbelief that some of these things are happening. So let's talk about that. So let's talk about some of these things that are happening in this movie. So Ethan Hawke plays a cop he's just got switched to Denzel Washington's crime unit. And he's being taken through the ropes, if you will, by Denzel Washington. He's explaining how to work the streets, basically, for lack of a better term. And we see increasingly how crooked of a cop that Denzel Washington is. And like, it's ridiculous, but he does things like he makes Ethan Hawke smoke weed with PCP on it, I think. So he makes him smoke PCP, gets him really high. And there's parts that make sense about this. It makes sense because he got him to smoke it so he has something on him. And that's sort of a way, in my way, that they excuse and they explain all the other crazy shit that Denzel Washington gets away with it throughout this movie. And I won't ruin everything. I'll try to, leave some of the stuff unknown still. If you haven't seen this, I really do recommend it. I think it's a great film. But yeah, I would recommend watching it. If you haven't, Denzel Washington's great in it. But yeah, the scene where Ethan Hawke is being forced, and he really is being forced to smoke this weed with PCP on it, because he says no, of course, at first, because Ethan Hawke is the good, by the books, young police officer that's just trying to make the city a safer place, like you hope that most police officers would be wanting. And Denzel Washington sort of represents the dark side, the crooked cops, the seedy underground that we suspect is what's going on. And we've seen that some of this isn't too far off from reality, but it is, there are scenes that are over the top. So back to the scene where he's making him smoke weed. People say it's a little unrealistic because, or at least my dad was saying, someone would be reporting him. He's doing it like in the middle of the street. He's holding a gun to Ethan Hawke's head in the middle of the street, which leads to a funny line. Like, this is filled with fun dialogue and good parts of this film. But he said, when he's all high on PCP, he says something like, "What? Why'd you do it? It's not like someone was holding a gun to your head or anything." But he was, obviously, holding a gun to his head. That's why it's funny. And yeah, this movie has like actors you notice from other stuff that maybe weren't big when this came out. This was 2001 or 3, I think. Actually, I'm not sure about that. Let's look it up on IMDb real quick. So, Training Day. Yeah, this director, he's done other stuff, but not like nothing else that I really like that much or have seen. Like he directed that movie Shooter with Mark Wahlberg. I don't know about that movie. Anyway, I haven't seen it. I've heard mixed reviews. Um, Training Day, IMDb. Yes. 2001, I was right. Okay. But no, this is a genuinely fun film. From the beginning to the end, there's not a dull moment. You could say it runs long, but I wouldn't because I think it uses its time well. And except for maybe towards the end, it drags slightly towards the end, and I won't ruin the ending, but it does feel like it's sort of wrapped up. And I didn't even remember this last part really. But which again I won't ruin, but the movie just sort of keeps going when it could have probably ended a little earlier. It's one of those where you think it's gonna end, but it's not over yet. But it only does that once, so it's not that bad. It's not that much longer, so it's not that. It's a very minor note. But yeah, no, this movie's fun. Terry Crews is one of those celebrities that you notice. He from Brooklyn Nine-Nine, but this is before that. I was making that point earlier, but yeah, Terry Crews is in this as one of these built sort of guards in the ghetto. He's just like standing outside of a hotel or motel or apartment complex, looking buff. Oh no! Don't crash. I'm refreshing the window. What's up? Uh-oh. That's not good. Oh, that is good. Hello? 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 I'm refreshing the window. Hello? Hello, we're good, we're back. Okay, good stuff. Okay, so this movie. It's fun. Ethan Hawke, I think, does a good performance. So does Denzel Washington. Some would say, my dad was saying that it was over the top, but again, I don't know. I like it. It's entertaining. I like over the top acting sometimes, and to me, it's good, depending on the movie. And I think it definitely works here. And it's just over the top enough, in my opinion. It's maybe pushing the envelope a little bit for what's believable, but I think that's okay in films. That's the sort of the point. A lot of the time, you're supposed to lose yourself in the story and the characters, and you do in this. Eva Mendes in this, you see her boobs sort of, but they're out of focus in the background. But that's a minor note. Could have been in focus. We could have used some Eva Mendes boobs in focus, but that's okay. But I really like this. I'm gonna keep the reviews short though. I'm gonna start, especially if there's no one else to talk to me about them. And I think that I've said pretty much what I want to about it. That it's fun from the beginning to the end. It's thrilling. Not a dull moment. Yes, it's a little over the top, but that's part of its charm. There's definitely some unrealistic scenes, but I think they explain most of it well enough. And I don't really want to. I guess I can talk about it a little longer though. Training Day was goofy but kind of fun, I guess. I'll talk about it a little longer. So there's a scene where Ethan Hawke sees a girl getting mugged and raped, and he stops it. He goes and he's like to Denzel Washington, like, stop the car, we gotta stop this kind of thing. And he goes and stops it, and Denzel Washington right away, you're like, okay, why is he, so hesitant about helping people? But then of course they go do it, but they do it in a questionable fashion. And I won't even go into detail about that, but I'll just keep going by saying that it and I won't ruin it either, but it connects later on in the story to something, and I don't really want to ruin that, so I'll just shut up there. But yeah, it's a entertaining film. Training Day was goofy but kind of fun, I guess. So that's your review, Hugh. Okay, I'm giving it a rating now. I think let's just get her done. Next movie, which is Napoleon Dynamite. But first, let's rate this. So, I think I'm gonna. I think Hugh knows what I'm gonna give it because I said it. I told him when we were talking about it before, when we watched it before. I mean, but I'm gonna give it an 8 out of 10 because I think it's solid. He would give it a little lower, but I think it's solid. It's fun. And I don't know, it gets me jacked up. It gets me excited. It's a fun film. Here is a beat from Patrick Swankins. Eight out of 10. It's a good film. It's really good. I love this movie. It's at least pretty good. Yeah. 8 out of 10.